speaking of the debate, J.D. Vance spoke with Caitlin Collins after the debate in the immediate aftermath there in Philadelphia. She basically asked him about the biggest moment, the most viral moment from the debate, where Trump says that they're eating your dogs. They're
eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
The melody of that is my favorite part. That live there. So that's insane for people that don't realize this. Quick background. This is a conspiracy theory that Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio are eating people's cats and dogs, stealing them, that originated because a woman in Ohio who was black and having a mental health episode, not seemingly a Haitian migrant, ate a cat. And so the neo-Nazis in Ohio decided to spread this all over the internet, do a rally about it. J.D. Vance and Trump picked up on it immediately, and Trump repeated said conspiracy theory at the debate unprompted. So pretty massive error, because it was insane, and anybody who's normal and isn't terminally online, like 80-90% of people are like, what the hell is he talking about? I've never even heard of such a thing.
You have to be a massively propagandized right-winger to follow.
And this is the 4chan campaign, and that's what Vance brings to the table. So Caitlin Collins asked him about this after the debate, and this is what he had to say.
The other thing that he brought up, which I was kind of surprised by, I guess I would say, is he brought up this misleading false claim that you yourself have talked about in recent days about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, abducting people's pets and eating them, which officials there have said is not true. You yourself acknowledged it may be false on Twitter. You still told people to keep spreading it. But Trump just amplified it to tens of millions of people who were watching. Why push something that's not true?
Well, pause it real quick.
City officials have not said it.
Because we're Nazis, and that's what Nazis do. Spread hysteria about racists. Anyway, go ahead, Bradley.
Also, I know that Caitlin Collins is a former Daily Caller person, and so she's probably a Republican. But of the CNN people, she's kind of my favorite. She does an okay job with some of this stuff.
I think she's a pretty good interviewer, despite her provenance coming from Daily Caller.
She did bad with a debate that she did, I thought.
It was the town hall, I think, with Trump. The Trump town hall was not great, but she was put in a bad situation. But she was the author of the classic Daily Caller piece, 10 Hottest Syrian Migrants or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's when you bring that up, then I have to retract that.
No, but she is pretty good.
Yeah, fine.
All right.
Push something that's not true.
Well, first of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They said they have no evidence.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening. So they very clearly, meaning the people on the ground dealing with this, think that it is happening. And I think that it's important for journalists to actually get on the ground and uncover this stuff for themselves when you have a lot of people saying my pets are being abducted, or geese at the city pond are being abducted and slaughtered right in front of us. This is crazy stuff. And again, whether those exact...
I know where this originates from, but go ahead.
Abducting a goose? I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
Goose napping. Your goose. QAnon is grasping at straws. They needed to come up with a new abduction scenario. So now we got the massive global goose abducting network. I don't know what's going on here. My God, these are the guys who love hunting, right?
Right.
I mean, one thing about the pets.
Well, allegedly,
one thing about the pets, like the dog and the cat stuff, that you can't bring that in here, even though it's all bullshit. But the geese stuff, why the hell do these guys care about the geese? Why do they care about the wild animals?
Crazy petty.
It's crazy because that's what the cats and dog stuff is supposed to be like. That
goes for animal rights, sort of pet lovers who are like fascists. Like we know that sort of type of pet
suburban mom.
Lover. Yeah, exactly.
And that it's a stand-in for other hatred. Like Chinese people eat dogs, so that's why you get to hate them, right? That's what the right and then the stuff with Haitian people, it's meant to evoke the racist voodoo like witchcraft allegation that's thrown at them all the
But
time.
this thing about the geese and the ducks.
Pull up this.
This is the game and fish department issue. Like, does he like? If he doesn't have a license, that's a minor fine. Guess what? I know a lot of white people who hunt things and harvest animals without licenses. That is actually pretty. That's that guy.
That's what this has happened. That's what this.
That's him assimilating into America.
Yes. So this guy. This is how this originated. One man in Ohio, not even in Springfield, photographed, and he's just a black man, photographed, we could get down to the picture, with, like, I guess, game that he, like,
Geese.
a goose that he hunted. I don't understand. Like,
Also, we don't even got any idea what we have no context for this picture. Is that
We don't
goose
even know that he
dead or
doesn't have a
alive?
license.
Did he hunt the goose? Was the goose was on his property and he's taking it back to the park? We have
Was it
no idea
roadkill?
any context. Yeah, we have
Was it
zero
roadkill?
idea.
Was he like if he went to Central Park and then staged some sort of crime scene
Was he
to
on
make it look like it was
was he on a falconry retreat in Goshen?
exactly like
it must have
there's-
been.
Why should I
there's a-
care
there's a-
about this?
There's a cat outside our building that just showed up a few weeks ago it's clearly not a feral cat because it comes right up to people, rubs up against them, meows for food. It's not a feral cat. Clearly someone dumped this cat. Me and another neighbor the other day, we lured the cat inside with food so we could get it to a vet and see if anyone wants to adopt it.
So you could fillet it.
If someone could have taken a photo of us luring this cat into our apartment and going, oh, look, they're going to cook that cat, and you have no evidence that I did or didn't. Like, it's seriously, though, that's what's going on here. It's complete speculation based on random photos of people with zero context.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the context is like a black guy.
Basically.
And it's
Context is that they're racist.
Yeah.
right.
All right, keep going.
And uncover this stuff for themselves when you have a lot of people saying my pets are being abducted or geese at the city pond are being abducted and slaughtered right in front of us.
We don't have to discuss it.
And again, whether those exact rumors turn out to be mostly true, somewhat true, whatever the case may be.
Not at all?
This
Fake.
town has been ravaged by 20,000 migrants coming in. Healthcare
Ravaged.
costs are up. Housing costs are up. Communicable diseases like HIV and TB have skyrocketed in this small Ohio town. This is what Kamala Harris's border policies have done. And I think it's interesting, Caitlin, that the media didn't care about the carnage wrought by these policies until we turned it into a meme about cats. And that speaks to the media's failure to care about what's going on in these communities. If we have to meme about it to get the media to care, we're going to keep on doing it because
JD,
the
you
media
have
should care about what's going on.
I saw
You have to evidence about it. Like that's the missing component here.
He should have hit him with like absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Right.
He should have gone old Bush era talking points on this one.
Yeah, it needs to be more on the skeptic community, the forums.
The HIV thing is extremely racist. Like all of this is really racist.
It's
There's
all
so
Nazi.
many
This is
letters.
Nazi stuff we're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
But
I think it's
like you
driving
say, like the virology component of it. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's driving a wedge between racists, though, because I think, a decent number of Republicans who are still probably racist understand that rhetoric like this comes across as Nazi-ish, comes across as Hitler-esque. And they understand that if you're on the outside of the 4chan message boards, people aren't going to respond well to this because, I hate to say it, but he is correct that the fear mongering around immigrant crime is effective for some portions of Americans. They are effective on some people, but turning that into like a 1920s racist caricature about Haitians stealing cats to perform voodoo is going to turn off more people than it attracts. And it's going to, I think, reveal the grift to a lot of Republicans that the Republican Party tries to obscure, which is that, we're just like a deeply racist party who has like deeply antiquated beliefs. And sometimes we can put on a mask and just like couch it in like, oh no, we just don't want people to lose jobs, or we just don't want people to be unable to afford housing. But what they really believe is that people from outside of the United States are coming to kidnap geese.
Yeah, which should be a national problem. I don't know why you're being so dismissive of it, Brandon. But
If those geese are Canadian, I don't care.
So So
they're immigrants too.
I mean, if they were swans, it would be one thing. Like, apparently, I'm sorry, Binder, but there's apparently a right-wing conspiracy theory in the UK, that Polish immigrants were coming in and killing and eating the Queen's swans, which is I love when royal UK right-wing conspiracies become also weirdly corny in their freaking royal worship. That's always a fun little twist.
I would love to hear Trump in his accent going, they're killing the Queen's swans.
Like, these kinds of conspiracies aren't new, right? Like, you can go to any part of Europe and hear about how migrants or Roma people are in fact barbaric or uncultured or living on the fringes in such a way that requires them to like eat pigeons or eat rats or stuff like that.
Also victimized by Hitler and the Nazis, the Roma.
Exactly. Oftentimes forgotten that they were victimized, one of the many groups that were victimized, and to this day are continued to be victimized. So it's not a new conspiracy theory. It's just a kind of antiquated racism that you don't really see in modern American discourse. And they're bringing that back.
Yeah, it's like feudalistic again. Like this idea that we should care about other people abducting a goose. Like I'm stuck on that.
It's like stealing food off someone's plate. No.
He's a big fan of Untitled Goose Game. That's a big one for him. Yeah. I will say there's a YouTube video that went viral. I don't know if you guys have seen it, by this like clickbait YouTuber who's like a right winger, but he doesn't usually like cover like politics. He does like on the ground, like clickbaity stuff. And Benny Johnson shared the video, and it's supposedly because I'm bringing it up because JD Vance said how the people in Springfield on the ground are saying this is happening. And this guy has this like half an hour video where he goes to Springfield and he talks to these supposed people. And literally the first guy he talks to refers to the Haitian immigrants as sand N-words in the video. Yeah. I mean, that should this is your source. This is your unbiased source of what's going on. Like, this guy clearly has a feeling about them.
Well, I didn't say unbiased.
That goes well beyond. Well, I'm being facetious. It goes well beyond like the geese. Like, these people, like anyone who's saying this shit clearly is either speculating or just making, like, based on like those vague photos like we showed you, or they're just making this shit up.
Caitlin Collins asked, so like, let's see, maybe he has some evidence to present. I wanna let this guy continue to go down this rabbit hole for just a second.
The media to care. We're going to keep on doing it because the media should care about what's going on.
I saw you say that. I think the media does care about it. I just read a very lengthy report in the New York Times on it. PBS NewsHour did a whole story. But can I ask
by us talking about it and bringing it up, nobody cared about this until we raised this issue.
Senator, you talked about that your office has gotten a lot of reports. I mean, if someone calls your office and says they saw Bigfoot, that doesn't mean they saw Bigfoot. Why? I mean, you have a sense of responsibility as a running mate, and he certainly does as the candidate to not promote false information, right?
Caitlin, it's a totally fair point, but nobody's calling my office and saying that they saw Bigfoot. What they're calling and saying is we're seeing migrants kidnap our dogs and cats, and city officials aren't doing anything about it. Now, again, I have a responsibility as a United States Senator. I think the media has a responsibility as an institution that cares about truth to actually take people seriously when they say their lives have been ruined by this migrant crisis. And again, if every single thing that the media says about this story is false, the verifiable facts are that this community has had their lives destroyed by 20,000 migrants coming in and uprooting lives.
Again, officials said no credible evidence of the claim. But Senator J.D. Vance, thank you for joining us.
So I would like to see the call logs from these supposed constituents who are calling him, but not the city of Springfield, because they're saying there's no credible reports there. I'd love to see the recordings of these constituent calls he's supposedly getting. They're probably just out-of-state neo-Nazis, if there even are any calls.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people are calling into JD Vance's office or his hotline or whatever he has and sliding into his DMs to, share racist propaganda with each other, like share racist memes, share like world star hip hop street fights with him. But that doesn't mean that, it's something you should share publicly. And I do think that it shows a declining set of media literacy that he's even doing, that he's even on here defending it. I guess it's good that they're holding his feet to the fire on this very particular talking point. But the fact that it made it to the debate stage just shows how cooked the Republican Party is overall. Like just how far gone that they've gotten, where like they're sharing like boomer like boomer TikTok and boomer like Facebook memes at the presidential debate.
Yep. And believing it, like, seemingly.
Yeah, believe it,
doesn't
for sure.
matter.
Well, I mean, some people actually believe it, which is, I think, this is like the distinction, right? Some people just say egregious racist things as like a cipher for like hatred of migrants. So like you just say crazy things about them that paint them as like barbaric or like not American or things like that. And that's not always meant to be taken literally. And that's why you wouldn't share it at the debate as though it actually happened. You would just be like, oh yeah, look at these Haitians. They're doing all these crazy things in Springfield, Ohio. But it's clear now that some people actually believe that these things are literally happening.
They're calling in bomb threats to the Springfield Community Center. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's blood libel in preparation for pogroms. And I don't know if they can get there, but this is when Trump talks about mass deportations of large populations of people. This is what the type of population that he's talking about. He wants to go after them. And like, I mean, not that you should have to debunk this stuff, but just one indicator is like how overstocked pet shelters are in Illinois. That Pritzker had to say, hey, go adopt pets. The idea, but this is to smear migrants as willing to abduct somebody's pet to what, like eat or to do some sort of ritual. Like again, like the idea that you have to take this seriously. It's I don't know how anybody can like elaborate it more than like a few sentences without realizing it's Nazi stuff.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to open up the phones now. 646-257-3920. Tic-Tac-Toe says nobody was talking about the couch fucking until it was brought to our attention.
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, sorry, I don't mean to monopolize the conversation, but Robbie Soav of what's that shit called, Breaking Points or The Hill or whatever, Rising. Sorry, yeah, the Breaking Points is the good one. Rising. This schmuck. So I think it's weird that people are smearing Haitians as pet eating hordes. I also thought it was weird that people were calling J.D. Vance a couch fucker. Like the idea that those things are equivalent. One is attacking a shitty politician who holds the same policy that Robbie Soav's stupid ass does, and the other is a racist blood libel against an entire people that the right wing wants to set the state on.
Yeah, and it was the couch fucking thing was a joke. It was started by people saying it's on page X of Hillbilly Elegy, and you could just look it up and see that it's not there. So,
yeah, I mean, also like that's been a project for as long as I've been online to kind of collapse like bigotry, like systemic bigotry in the language that represents it or communicates it in the public discourse with like bullying, where when people are like, oh, saying the N-word is the same thing as saying like cracker or calling someone like ugly. It's like, no, those aren't the same things. Like an insult and a slur are different.
Exactly. Dragon Rider, voodoo isn't real, but finding a person in Congress who would say that about God would be very hard to do. I'm more scared of voodoo than the wrath of God.
Frankly, if it were 1920, they would be saying this about the Irish.
Yeah.
They would. J.D. Vance probably is saying this about the Irish right now, just not on camera.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.